And this week's question is, with high unemployment and high competition, how can I differentiate myself from the competition? What do you think, Missy? As an HR professional, when you're reviewing applications, what really stands out to you?
Well, something that has stood out to me recently is the number of people that I can tell that just did a find and replace on Microsoft Word and stuck land plan engineering in and the name of the title and just sent me the same thing they sent to like a whole bunch of other jobs. And it's like, you weren't being sneaky. That's actually pretty obvious. And, I get that when you're doing searching for a job is a full-time job. I get that. But it totally is. And it's exhausting, but if you really want to stand out, then you tailor what you're sending me to me, it's not, I'm just going to shoot the same resume to everybody under the sun and hope something sticks, like the proverbial spaghetti on the wall. Like, you want to make sure that if you've got a job description that's in front of you on a posting on Indeed or a posting on Glassdoor, and it lists out, these are the things that we're looking for, redo your resume to highlight your experience in those things.
Yes.
Like really, truly highlight it. My job postings will say, that we're a civil 3D firm. And I'll have people that'll send me a resume and it'll have like their list of skills. They'll put like civil 3D as part of a bulleted list and draw no attention to it under any of their jobs. Tell me how they used it. Tell me where they used it, what they were doing with it. I'm like, I can add something to a bulleted list in Word too, but that doesn't tell me anything.
Right, you can say anything, right? I always say anything, but can you prove it? That's what I always tell my clients, prove it.
Yeah, and a few simple metrics make a huge difference. So if I say, I'm looking for somebody with this software experience, then okay, that is like a bright shining light to you that in this resume, I want to pull out where I used this software and what I did with it. And it's not just used Civil 3D to draw sanitary sewer. Okay, how big was the project? How much sanitary sewer line did you draw? What was this, a project that lasted 5 days? Was this like 5 months? If you said instead that you used Civil 3D to design over 2 miles of such and such for this subdivision that had so many lots in it, then I get a picture. Okay, and if I'm trying to find somebody that can design sanitary sewer for subdivisions and roughly the size, then I'm like, this is my person. This is my candidate. This is who I'm going to be like, here, you need to read this resume because I'm already going to go ahead and set up an interview with this person. So they're going to come in next week. This is what you told me you needed. But if it just says, experience Civil 3D.
Right. You need those examples, right? You need those examples to say, yes, this person has the experience that we are needing. And if they don't have that, you have no way of knowing that. And you don't have time to guess.
No. And that's the thing is like, you wind up spending a lot of time on jobs that like, you may not even actually want to interview for some of these positions, but because they can't really tell what your skill sets are and how you've maybe done the stuff that they need, they'll interview people that they're really not even sure about. It makes the whole process take longer, and
you're wasting
really
everybody's time.
You're wasting everybody's time, and including and especially your own. And but I don't want to rewrite my resume 15 times. It's like, but you do. But you do if you really want to stand out to this company, especially if you throw, I've had like cover booklets basically sent to me. It's like, this was not a cover letter. This was like a cover War and Peace, but it told me nothing about like, did you even go to our website? Did you do any research on us whatsoever? How do you even know that you want this job other than you stuck our name in the find and replace feature? You know, so it definitely stands out to me if somebody's like, hey, I was on your website, I saw that you did this project and I actually live near there, you know, or something like that. I mean, it doesn't have to be that kind of thing specifically. Like I have talked to several people who have worked here and they have said they've had amazing experiences. I hear that your culture is really tailored to this kind of person. And I think that I can be and everybody says that they can be an asset for everything, you know, but it's like, why is that important to you? Maybe you actually tell me why you got into the field a little bit. You're like, hey, I noticed that, you know, some of the things that you listed as important on your Facebook page, it's X, Y, and Z. And I totally agree with that because this is why I got into civil engineering or whatever, is because I had this experience. You know, you actually make like a connection because you're talking about somebody that you're going to wind up probably having a working relationship at some point with anyway, if you get the job. So why not start from that point by doing more than just a find and replace and to whom it may concern, you know, maybe you can get a little bit more information off their website or some of their social media posts, or you can find out that, you know, they've posted for a few different types of jobs over the year. And you're like, hey, I think see that you guys are expanding because you've had a few different job posts up and I hear great things about X, you know, whatever it is. But, you know, get specific in your experience, tailor it to that job description. Cause that's like getting the answer key before taking the math test, you know, like, you know, the answer A is, you know, answer 1 is, you know, 2.349. Okay, well, then I'm going to be ready with that answer. So that's what your job description is. That's what you're posting on Indeed is. That's your answer key. So then you go back and show me where you have all these answers and not just generically paint me a picture. You don't have to use a whole lot of words to paint a picture that really can stick and make sense.
Absolutely. I always say quality over quantity because I will get clients who call me, or potential clients, I should say, who call me and they say, I've applied for hundreds of jobs and I haven't received a single result. Well, that's your problem. You are not submitting quality, you're submitting quantity, and the employer knows that. And people don't realize if they would spend the same amount of time applying for 3 positions as they do 100 positions, they're probably going to have more luck with those 3 targeted, tailored, personalized positions than if they submit 100 applications. Because I'm sorry, nobody is qualified for 100 jobs. And, you know, I mean, they're probably not. And they don't have a valid reason as to why they're applying for those jobs. And therefore that why is not being expressed. And that's not going to be effective when searching for a job. So you are absolutely right. It's that personalization, it's that tailoring that is so important, and that is what's going to stand out. You know, I always tell people too, for the most part, you know, if you have a certain degree and you've done a certain internship, a lot of times people have some similar qualifications, right? I mean, you have the same degree, you've done the same types of work, but what makes you unique? What makes you stand out? And what makes you stand out for that specific position? Why should they hire you over all these other candidates? So you really need to tailor your documents to explain that and make it easy for the HR manager to see how you're a unique fit for their company, and that you don't just want any job, you want a job with their company, and this is why.
Yeah. Well, and making yourself stand out. I mean, people also don't realize everybody describes themselves as a hardworking, super motivated, go-getter, and, you know, like all those generic things. Every single person says they're those things. That's not going to make a difference. That all becomes very much white noise. But if you can actually show me, how, if you see in my job description that I need somebody who can design streets, because that's one of the things that's listed on there, and you tell me about some actual streets you've designed, you know, and that doesn't mean you write a paragraph or two, but you give me some ideas about how big the project was, how long maybe you worked on it, you know, how you use the software, and maybe you use these particular aspects of the software in doing that. And you're still talking about a couple of sentences,
Right.
but what stands out from that is not that you're head and shoulders above everybody else, but that you're actually giving me useful information that
Right.
shows me you can do not just anything, but you could do my thing. Because I told you what my thing was, hopefully, in that job description. Hopefully, if I did it right, in that job description online on Indeed or Glassdoor or wherever it is. So tailor it to that. Use some metrics and paint me a picture, and then I know you can do my thing. It's, you know, it's not about you. You don't have to be the best in the world. You need to be able to show me that you can do what I need you to do, or what I know my project managers are going to need you to do.
Exactly.
And the generic stuff is just, that doesn't tell me anything.
Exactly. Yes, I love this. This is all fantastic advice. And I think, you know, I think a lot of people don't realize how time consuming a job search is or should be. And so when you are looking for a job, it's so important to set aside time, a significant amount of time, to put forth that effort. And it may take a couple of hours for you to tailor your resume and cover letter to where it, you know, can get you noticed. But if those couple of hours get you the job, it's completely worth it.
Or even get you the interview, you know, because
exactly, get you the interview, get you the job. Exactly.
Well, and even you can tell sometimes that maybe this person isn't what I'm actually needing for this job, but I've actually got this other opening, you know, and the more specific that information is, and you're really showing me the experience that you've had, you know, I can make those kind of decisions too. And then maybe I contact you and I'm like, hey, have you seen that we also have this posted? Because you might be a really good fit over here. Because I've reached out to people before and made those kind of statements too. And they were, when I could see from the information that they gave me that they really had some good experience, it was just like, that's not quite what we need for this job that they applied for, but I don't think they saw this posting. They might be able to be exactly what we need over here. But you can't tell me that if you just are telling me that you're hardworking and multitasker.
Absolutely. So specific, measurable examples are so important. So I think that's kind of the key, kind of the overall summary of what we just talked about. So any kind of final thoughts about things that stand out to you, Missy?
You know, I definitely feel like use that job description as the answer key and pull out your legitimate connection to every single thing you can in that answer key. And you're definitely setting yourself up for a much higher probability of being somebody that hiring team is going to want to know more about.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your expertise and your advice. It's really great. So I hope people take it and use it to their advantage. So thank you so much.
You bet. I hope they get lots more interviews.
Absolutely. Me too.